Hey everybody, Coach Mark here. Before we dive into today's topic, make sure to find me over on Instagram as Coach Mark Estrabio. Also, I offer one-to-one coaching. It's what I do full-time, and the odds are very good I would love to work with you. With that being said, let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking all about 13 mistakes I made in my rookie year as a strongman athlete. That way you don't have to make them. When I reflect back on that first year in the sport, it was a wonderful time, but I also made a lot of dumbass decisions, and I'd usually stack them back to back in that I'd make one mistake and then overcorrect on the other side of it to make another mistake. So let's go ahead and make sure you do not repeat them, alright? Now, in terms of categorizing these categorical blunders that I made, we're going to be talking about nutrition, training philosophy, training execution, and then sort of a miscellaneous. Blunder number one, the not so incredible bulk. Lift big, eat big. That was the philosophy that I subscribed to. Problem there was I figured, okay, as long as the scale is going up, I'm going to be moving in the right direction. And ultimately, what I learned here was you want your training to drive eating, not the other way around. You want to train so hard that you need to eat more to elicit the right adaptations. If you just eat and eat and eat and eat and hope that your training drives the adaptations, you've got it backwards. Now, closely linked to that was the next blunder, which is treating the body as a fast-moving garbage disposal as opposed to a temple. There's an old saying, garbage in, garbage out. You can't get premium performance using unleaded fuel, and that was definitely my experience. I treated Strongman like a cheat day lifestyle, just Oreos and gummy bears, because, I need the calories, I need the carbs, bro. That was a huge mistake, and I got very huge in the midline without much performance benefit to show from it. But once I actually started eating like an adult, adequate protein, clean carbohydrates, and real food, well, everything improved. So by this point, you could probably figure out I was bloated, I had excess fat, and not a lot of strength gain to show for it. So what did I do? I made a different mistake. Totally over it. I avoided carbs like they were the enemy. I figured going low carb, going keto would help with body comp and energy. Long term, it didn't. I felt flat, gassed out early, and I just couldn't recover. It was all about finding a sensible balance. Now, as we move from fueling into training philosophy, one of the biggest errors that I made, and that I still see people making when it comes to strongman training, is treating strongman like it's powerlifting with an overhead press thrown in, everything being subservient to your 1 rep max. And the reality is, strongman in general is a sport of reps. Obviously, there are max weight events. You see them fairly frequently, but getting strong as all get out in the 3 to 10 rep range is incredibly valuable. And if you think about something such as a moving event, it's essentially a ton of reps of very short strokes piled on together. So improving the rep strength, improving your conditioning and your work density capabilities are going to pay dividends. You want capacity, positioning, and repeatability. Now, closely related to that was the idea of skipping hypertrophy work. I told myself, hey, I'm a strong man, I'm not a physique bro. But the reality is, if you don't have a wide base of strength and muscularity, you're not going to build a stable enough support base for those high peaks of performance come competition day. If you look at any strongman athlete at the top of the sport, especially in the weight class divisions, well, they tend to look incredibly strong as well as be incredibly strong. In general, having more muscle mass is more leverage, more contractile tissue, which means more stability. If you want to move heavy stuff fast, you got to have both the engine and transmission to make it happen, not to mention the suspension. Now, continuing along that thread of hyperspecificity and focusing only on competition type performance, I entirely got away from barbell training and focused almost exclusively on using the strongman implements whenever and wherever possible. And what I found is by just chasing logs and sandbags and yokes year round, it ran me into the ground. At day's end, you want to think of the barbell as a Swiss Army knife. It's not necessarily great at everything, but it's good at a good many things. And when you're looking to build a wide foundation of ability and capability as a strongman athlete, barbell's hard to beat. It's a really useful tool, so make sure that you do keep it in your training in some capacity. Following up with that, I also told myself machines, oh please, those are just for, bodybuilders or people who are too lazy to do the real lifts. But the reality is, machines let you isolate your weak links, right? Let's say, for example, you need to hit your triceps. Sure, you can do a ton of close grip bench, but once your chest and shoulders are fried, you can still work your triceps by doing something like a tricep extension. And ultimately, if these are good enough for Big Z and Eddie Hall, they're good enough for the rest of us. Don't let your ego stop you from using the tools that work. This ties in really closely with the hyperfixation on 1 rep max, but I told myself, hey, the only way to get stronger is more weight on the bar, but especially in a strongman application, strength isn't just load. You want to think about reducing rest times, increasing rep capacity, increasing work density. All of these things build your overall capacity, and for a sport that rewards putting in the long-term work, having that wide base of overall capacity and ability means you can fly higher when you're peaking. Now, this is one that I actually want to spend a little time talking about, deafening workload. I didn't really think about how one training day would impact the next. I do a ton of heavy squats and then wonder why my push press sucked the following day. And ultimately, the issue here wasn't effort, because heaven knows I was working hard every single day, but I wasn't working intelligently. You need to think about how your week impacts the individual days when they're strung together. If you're doing a ton of squats, yes, your push press will be affected the following day. That's just the nature of the human body, after all. So when I say deafening workload and bad programming decisions, let me show you on screen right now how bad it actually was. I would train 6 days a week, 3 upper, 3 lower. Everything was done in a circuit fashion with only 90 seconds rest between sets. And the idea here is I would try to run linear progression, adding anywhere from 5 to 20 pounds per week on all of my big movements, and then trying to add either a couple reps or 5 to 10 pounds on the smaller movements. So you'll see on day 1, it was a circuit of logs, chins, and ab wheel, which is a great series by itself, but then moving into strict press, lat pull down, and kettlebell snatches, and then 2 tricep and 2 delt exercises plus some abs at the end. That's a long work day, and I'd have 3 days like that a week, as well as 3 lower body days of work in a similar fashion. And I do also want to mention day 5 here. This day in particular was extra bad because I would go from close grip bench into viper press into rows. That beat the absolute hell out of me, and coupled with my refusal to use straps, I wondered why my elbows didn't feel good. Now, speaking of straps and my refusal to use them, I figured, yeah, I'm hardcore, bro. I'm a strong man. I gotta have ironclad grip. Gotta train the grip. But what I got instead was elbow pain, tendonitis, and fried forearms. Obviously, you need to have a strong grip, but it's important to know when to use straps as well. Often, I won't use straps on my deadlifts just so I can help develop my hook grip, but then what I'll do is strap up for movements such as rows and lat pull downs. Conversely, you might strap up for your workup sets on your deads and then try to do your top sets without your straps, or use straps on the back down sets, or simply when your grip actually gets fatigued. Regardless, they're simply a great tool in the toolkit, and in many strongman shows, you're allowed to use straps on the deadlift, so it's important to train your skill with them so you can get the most out of them come competition day. Now, when it came to getting ready for some of these horribly designed workouts, I would either half-ass my warm-ups or I'd skip them altogether. There was no structure, no focus. I just kind of dive in and hope for the best. But once I had a consistent routine, I was able to get more out of myself. A warm-up is not optional. You can't fry fat in a cold pan. I'm not saying take 30 minutes, do a whole, crazy yoga routine with foam rolling, nerve flossing, blah, blah, blah. But think something as simple as 3 rounds of 15 face pulls, 15 band pull-aparts, 15 tricep press downs, and then maybe 3 to 4 single-arm dumbbell presses before moving into your log. You're going to be a lot more stable, which means your ability to expose and maintain and develop your strength will increase. You're also going to feel a little better, in my experience, because your joints are going to be warmed up. You're going to have plenty of blood in the connective tissue. Now, this next blunder here is one that I'm still guilty of here and there. It's one that a lot of us, especially lately, I think we're getting more and more guilty of with the current dialogue in the fitness industry, and that is majoring in the minors. For me, I worried about dumb little things like tiny little hacks to make myself 1 second faster on a yoke run when I should have just been focused on getting stronger and building more stability through my hips. Hyper-complicated accessory movements that took 10 to 15 minutes to set up, what protein powder to buy, instead of just hammering the damn basics. At day's end, when you focus on the foundational movements, you're gonna get more out of yourself, not from overthinking fluff. Quite bluntly, we're seeing it in the current state of the fitness industry. Science-based has become the new functional fitness in that it's a nebulous term that often is used to help skirt around and avoid what needs to be done, which is usually the hard work. Last but not least, cardio. Oh yes. I avoided cardio. I told myself more than 5 reps is cardio. If you're someone who's saying this now, stop. Stop kidding yourself, okay? If you think more than 5 reps is cardio, it's just a testament to your bad conditioning, let's be real. And as a strongman athlete, you're naturally going to be heavier than most people, and whether it's muscle or fat, that means your heart has to work harder. So strongman isn't just lifting. You got to move fast while carrying something usually pretty awful. Conditioning is not optional. This is your insurance policy. You need to have a good base of conditioning because that's going to allow you to recover more quickly between sets, between events, and between workout sessions, as well as perform during stuff like a medley. Also, last but not least, let's be here for a good time and a long time, all right? So if I were to make this as simple as possible, eat for your performance, not for your ego, and train hard enough that your nutrition is downstream from that. If you want to gain mass, train hard enough with enough volume that you need to eat more to support your training. Don't treat strongman like powerlifting with an overhead press. You need to get strong for reps across multiple implements, multiple positions. Use every tool in the toolkit to actually get better. Use straps, use partial range of motion, use machines. Remember that you're never going to science your way out of hard work. Recovering and planning matter. Think about how your workouts are going to affect each other across the week. And, cardio is not going to kill you, but ignoring it just might. So that wraps up everything I've got for you folks today. I hope you found something useful in this. Let me know if you have any comments or questions down below in the comments section. The best comments and questions are ones I will turn into topic videos. Otherwise, I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.